Welcome to the other part of the skentele autogele. You remember that after trying our gele on and trying to make our rose using our rose or our fascinator using the paints, I said we'll take it off then whip it. So now I'm going to lock in of the fabric, and don't forget that if you're working with sago like we did with the white, you don't need to lock. You just go ahead with your attaching the fascinator or the rose with your needle and thread. So now, because this purple one is an ashoke, and you can see it will loosen, so I have to lock with a locking machine. This is a locking machine, or it's called an industrial whipping machine. So I want to start my locking. So the ends at which you lock the ends where you have your hook and loop on both sides. You lock those ends where you have your hook and loop on both sides. Then you also lock the end of the ashoke, which you will have here, this end, and also the end here, the end of the extended fabric that is going to be used for the fascinator. Will lock it. So those are the parts to be locked. So I'll just go straight to the locking. So just lock all loosening ends. I think exactly that's what we need to do, locking all loosening ends. So to lock, place your then I'll turn on the machine now. It's a bit noisy, so I'm waiting for it to peak, because the machine is driven by a big motor. It takes time for it to peak, so depending on what kind of motor your industrial whipping machine is using, so I'm just giving it some time to pick up. So what it looks like. Pick up all the extended thread so it doesn't loosen out. So as you use your industrial locking machine, try to monitor and look through the whipped area to make sure that it's whipping, because sometimes it sounds like it's whipping but it's not. It's just cutting off your fabric and it will make your fabric short. So be attentive and just keep checking over time. So now I'm done with the part that is going to be wrapped around the edge, which I called the cap area. So now this is the extended part that is used for our fascinator. Now I'm going to whip this, but before I whip this, I wanted to do something. After we created our fascinator in the beginning of this video, I realized that it was good. This length was perfect for what I want, but I can extend it a little bit. So I want to put a little bit of extension, and how I do that is that I'll add a little bit of fabric and whip both of them together. Now this is one of the fabric I loosened. I cut off from the ends, so this is too much for me to use. So I'll just probably add like about 15 to 20 inches of of the fabric, then I'll use the locking machine to hold it together like I'm locking. So I'll just do about 20 inches of this fabric and cut it off, because I wanted the rose to be just slightly bigger, so I'll just add a little bit to it. So if it's a sego you want to do, the sego length is actually longer than the ashoki length, but if it's a sego and you want to lock, you want to extend the length, just add your please put it on silence, thank you. Just add your fabric and sew it together. You don't need to lock, but you know when you're cutting, you use your zigzag scissors for the sego. So now I want to extend this fabric. To do this, to extend the fascinator length, the length we'll use to create our fascinator or our rose or a beautiful flower on the watch. So what I'll do is I'll just fold both of them together this way, put them together, put the ends together. As you can see, the ends are loosening, so then I'll use the industrial machine to lock both of them together, so it will sew automatically, to sew them together automatically, and it will give me a neat clean finishing. So when you are running your industrial weaving machine, try and go slowly, then check so that you can be sure that it's whipping, it's not just cutting the fabric. This I have it this way, so it has helped me join my fabric together. But there's one thing I have to be careful of. If I pull it to rip off, so you can see the other side. It has joined the fabric together, it has locked it from loosening. But if I pull it to rip off, so what I'll do is I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it down this way, to prevent it from ripping off. So I need to lock the other end. I need to use my industrial blade to lock the extreme end of the extended length for the fascinator. So please, I'm checking if it's locking. Okay. So this way, I'll just double check everywhere to make sure that all the loose ends are locked. Yeah, everywhere is locked, so I can turn off my industrial locking machine. So this way, every of the loose ends are locked. So I need to move to, stitching this other part that I joined together. Then I'll go to the process of creating my beautiful fascinator. Thank you. Okay, now we're on the sewing machine. I'm just about to stitch that part where I locked with the industrial weaving machine. That's the little about 20 inches that I added to the extended end of the length I want to use for the fascinator. So I'll just stitch it down a little bit so it doesn't rip off while I'm trying to create my rose for fascinator. So I'm done stitching it together. The next thing is to do is start creating the rose and fascinator. So first thing I need to do is to secure the cap part. Then to do that, I'll go back to my fold. The 2-inch fold we did at the beginning, I'll fold it back in this way. Then I would have this. Then you have your rough hook on one side and the smooth hook on the other side. Then I'll place this on the head. Make sure that it stays properly at the back of the neck. Make sure it covers the back of the neck to a very large extent. Yes, let's start the back of the neck this way. So then I can put it. Can use the so my cap, this is my cap now, so I have my cap well secured. So the next thing to do is to try to I want to secure my So you pull the fabric, the extended part of the cap here, you pull it forward like you want to form a cap that is coming forward like this, like you can see. You see, these are our in cuts, our in cuts 5-inch on both sides. I have my in cuts 5-inch on both sides. So you pull it together this way, and then you create like pleats. Just create small gathers and pull it together, and then it comes forward like this. Make sure it comes forward even past this part where you have this, your fold here. So I can pull this down so that I will tie it, and I won't have to tie this part with it. So then pull this forward enough, as much as possible, so it's coming this way. So it's good this way. As I'm doing that, I'm checking the back so that the back does not lift. What happens is, most of the time, by the time you are pulling this forward, the back is lifting, is moving forward. And if the back moves forward, by the time you are done creating your cap, you find out that the cap is too small. So as much as possible, when you pull your fabric together, you form your gathers here. Make sure you check the back and pull fabric. Then see, I'm trying to create allowance. So this is what I have, after pulling it together. But I'll create allowance by pulling the fabric in a little bit. The reason is because so that in case the client makes their hair, there will be a bit of allowance to take, the hair. Or probably the client hair is bigger, there will be some little allowance to take. So now I'll go to tying. So I'll tie with the same color of thread. Sometimes I take out thread from the ashoke. At the end I loosens before I lock it. I'll take out some thread so that it blends to the fabric. So then I can tie now. So I'll just use this thread to tie tightly. But don't forget to always check if you have allowance there. If you don't have allowance, before you tie it, secure it permanently, try to pull your fabric out this way. Her thread came off, so I'll just tie again. Okay, so I'll tie again. So after creating the tie, I'll cut off the excess thread so that my job will be neat. I'll check if there's any thread coming off. Okay, now good. So this is what I have left. Then I have this end. Don't forget that. Oh, you see, mistakenly I pulled this into it. So you shouldn't sew this flip into your gathers here. So I had to put it out. Then I have this. So because this is what will create the allowance for entering the different size, the head size. So before I start creating my rows, I'll also pull it down, pull my cap down and check if it covers the ears and the back of the neck properly. So now I'm good. So the next thing to do, you can see that it's not so tight. It's good this way. I don't want it to be too tight just because I want to have enough allowance for my clients. I want to have enough allowance here for my clients in case they make their hair or in case their head is bigger. So now I want to go to the rose creation. So now it's in two ways. I can create my rose from the back here. Yeah, I can go this way and create my rose from the back here. I'm sorry, sometimes I have to look into my mirror so I'm sure that what I'm doing is nice. So I can do it this way from the back, like this. So I'm just going to start my rose. So all this I'll secure with a pin, then later I use a needle and thread to hold it. So I actually started from the back now. So to continue, I'll just come here, turn this in, this way, inwards. Then that means I'm going to be going this way. That means I'm going to be swelling. I'll swirl. I call it swirling around the fabric, around these points to create my row. So I'll keep going like that. Now, I can do it the other way around. You know, I actually went this way. So I can also go this way, like this. So depending on what works well for you, whichever one you like. So if I'm going this way, I do it this way. So it's just like clockwise, anti-clockwise. So whichever one you like or whichever one works well for you, you can choose. Sorry, I had to look away from the camera once in a while to be able to check what I'm doing in the mirror. So then I just do this to create my narrows. So hair, you know, I mentioned the other time that if you wanted to have this safe harbor end, if you wanted to have the safe harbor end, you can just leave this. So let me do the safe harbor end. So I'm not going to pin, I'm not going to swirl the whole of this edge in. I'm just going to, do it to this point, and I'll leave the edge. That's pointed edge is what I call the safe harbor, skentele look. So you can call it your own name, anything. It just, for me, it just looks like like that thing you have in a sheep. Don't mind me, I'm kind of weird. Pin came off. I'm trying to secure this down. Trying to pin this down. Okay, I think I got it. So now I'll just keep going. So I'm going this way, I'll be going this way. The other time I went this way, so this time I'll go this way. So whichever one works well for you, you can do it either way, and it's really nice. It's a bit stressful because you have to do at least the beginning from the head. So when I have a picture of what it's going to look like, then I'll take it off the head and do the finishing on my work table. That's on my work table. So this way, I'll just take it off and continue on the work table. So I'm done setting the middle of my fascinator. So I'll just keep going, swirling the extended arm of the fabric around the fascinator. So as I'm doing that, I'll be taking the edge, this edge. You know, I have two edges. I have the one that comes out. This is the edge that shows out. Then the other edge is the one that comes under. So I'll keep tacking this one with my sewing needle and thread. The one I use for tacking. So because I've actually done it with pins before, so I know what it's going to look like. So now this way, I'm ready to secure it permanently. I'm not doing it just with a needle and thread. So because you know we had actually done it with a pin before, so I'm ready to secure it permanently. Don't just get confused here. It's looking a bit clumsy right now, but really it's not that difficult. I'm just trying to like use the needle and try to tack the middle of the rose to the base of the rose, so that way it won't come off, because I've been using pins and I just took off the pins so that I can secure it permanently. So I'm done securing that part. So I'll just go out and keep swirling around the fabric. I'll keep swirling the extended end of the fabric. Please, can I get a plier? Thank you. So also you can also use a plier to pull your needle out, especially at the point where the needle is stuck and the needle isn't coming out, because if you keep pressing you can pierce your hand, like I pierced my hand severally. So just I use a plier to pull through anywhere I find it difficult to take out the needle and the thread. Can't find it. I really need that ply. So this way I'm just trying to secure the beginning part of the clothes. You know, all the while when I started I was just using pins to hold it down. So after holding it, then taking off my hair, I'll use the needle and thread to secure it. Don't worry, just don't worry. Thank you. I'll work my way through. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so can use the plier. This is the plier for beading. And just get a small plier, and then it works. It just makes the work easier. Makes it easy to pull the thread. Even while pleating, you're making your multiple pleated guinea, you can also use this plier to pull off the needle through your several pleats. Careful. Anela, be careful. So, okay. So I'll take out this pin here. I have a pin here, so I'll take it out. Then use the needle and try to tap that down. So really it's just taking my fabric round, you know, that part that the beginning of the rose or the fascinator. So I'll just keep taking my fabric round and going round, and while I'm going round I'll use my needle and thread to secure the flaps together. Wow, he cut. Uh-oh. My thread got ripped off. That's what we did with our pins, you know, in the beginning of the class. You just do the same thing here, but you just use a needle and try to secure it down. Are getting it. I'm sorry I'm a bit slow. It's just that I just want my work to be, you know, very neat. So that's why I'm taking my time to work all the details. As I progress to get faster. So with this is a double cotton fabric. We call it a double cotton fabric with a crantex. That is the double crantex. We have different types of crantex. You know, the crantex is what they call the wire to wire. And so if your crantex is the thick crantex, which is about 10 threads, because I actually tell the people that weave the ashoke for me, I prefer to use the one that has 10 threads if I have to do crantex, because it's finer, it's neater, and then it's more comfortable and it makes the work richer. Though it's more expensive, but it's just better. So if it's the crantex with the 10 threads, when you are doing this, it just stays. Just stays. You just have this beautiful finishing. So it's the end of this part of the ashoke that I pull in. The end of this part of the ashoke, and as I pull in, I try to make sure, I'm getting this, light ripples. It's not like it's really deep. So when I create a little bit of the ripples, I'll use my needle and try to secure that end underneath the previous ripple, or the previous layer of the rows that I created. Just keep working, do your thing. I'm sure you just discover something even better than what I'm doing right now. As I remember the last training that we had, one of the participants, by the time she was done, doing her own, I don't know what to call it. She was just going round and round, and it wasn't looking nice at first. By the time she was done, it was a wow. It was a wow. So sometimes you just have to create your own thing. You don't have to follow hard principles, because it's art. So, and there's no, hard principles or strict rules for art. Art is creativity. It's bringing your own taste, your own style, yourself into your work. So there's no hard rule or principle when it comes to art. It's not science. And if it's science, somebody made those rules, so I can't break them. Okay. Okay, now I can decide if I want my fascinator to be big or to be cute, like not too big, depending on my client. Most times the elderly women, the grown-up women don't like the big fascinator. So depending on the client you're making it for, so I'm trying to shrink it a little bit so it's not too big. Because if it's too big, I'll have to take off the extra end that I added to my fabric. Whenever you're working, as much as possible, doing any of your style, any of your gili, try as much as possible to have a picture of a hand tie gili, because it's an auto gili, so it's like we're trying to make a hand tie gili look, we're trying to make a quickie or a quick version of a hand tie gili. So your vision or your end goal should look like a hand tie gili. So if you have thread running through your auto gili, then you've lost the beauty of the auto gili, because from a distance or even from a close look, a spectator shouldn't identify that your gili is an auto gili. That's why people will pay exorbitant prices to get an auto gili. But if the gili is tacky, it has thread running around it, and then one can spot it from, you know, a distance or even from a close look that is an autogele, then I don't think it's worth it for me. But for, you know, for a start, you can just, you know, work your way through. Even if you have your thread running, you know, you get the principle, you keep working at it, and you keep improving. You don't have to be like perfect at the first trial. Like I had several trials which were not perfect before I got it, and I'm still trying. Like I still, you know, try to improve and, you know, discover new techniques so my job can be neat and look better each time. So I try as much as possible to avoid the thread running through the back. That's this part, the under part and the top. But the thread can actually be hidden in between the floral part of the rose or the fascinator. So when I'm done swirling my fabric around, see what I have left. So as I'm doing it, the size of the floral part of the fascinator or the rose, whichever one is convenient for you, keep, you know, increasing. So for elderly women, some of them like it big, but some of them don't like it big. So like this is almost good for someone that's elderly. I think the younger generation, like our generation, likes it big, like it flamboyant, you know, like the sweet 16, really sweet 16s. I'm 16 at that. So people are jealousy. Stop jealousy. Forever young, I will be forever young. Okay, I'm exhausted. I think I've almost exhausted my thread. Remaining a little bit, so I just go one more time then. Okay, now if I hadn't extended, then my rose would end here. If I didn't extend the fabric, so this is what I will have at the end of the day. This is where my rose will end. So I'll just pin this down and put it on my head and see what it actually looks like. If this is fine, if it's fine, I can remove the extension. You know, it depends on what you want to create. You know, actually, the clients that are making this for, you know, like it a bit big, not too big, but she likes the big. That's why I added that little one, little extra. So I want to put it in the head and look at it, at what it looks like before. So I just put that excess fabric, I just folded it underneath my created fascinator. Soft, technical, vulgar piece. I need to put this on my head. I want to just try it and check if it's big enough. Wow, it's like massive. It's massive already. I will be forever young. So this is what I'm going to have without the extra extension. Okay. This is good, but in case I want it to be a bit bigger, just keep extending this. So I just take this. So the point where I use my pin, that's the point I'm going to tack down with the needle and the thread. Now, yes. Please can you take this call? Very good. Wow. This is avant-garde. This is really avant-garde. It's big. I think it's a bit too big for my clients. So I just take off the extension I have. But it's so beautiful. I love it. Like, if you go into an event with this, you just get noticed. You just get noticed one time, you know. You don't need to announce your entrance. Like, it's so beautiful. What do you think? So now you know, depending. So because my client doesn't want it this big, I know she doesn't want it this big because she's elderly. So I'll just take off the extension I added. I'll loosen it out, then whip it in. So thank you. So okay now, can I have that extension please? Can I have that one? The purple one. So what happened is, after you've created, you can see I have my fascinator flipping around, so you don't leave it this way. So after creating this, assuming I want it to stay this way, you know I have to tack out the part I use pin to hold, but I'm not going to tack it out because I won't take it out. So after you created your fascinator this way, you have to take about maybe about 40 inches of your ashoke, of 1 hour of ashoke. Take it, whip both ends so it's not losing. Then take it and swirl it underneath take it round to hold the base. It's just going to give it a firm grip underneath. But while you are doing that, be careful not to tie this our flap into it. Don't hold the flap into it. So I just use it and just make it a bit firm, like as if you're tying, but you have to use a needle and a thread to secure it down, to secure the beginning. Like this part as I put it in, I use a needle and thread to secure it in. Sorry, the reason why I have all this folding out is because I haven't tapped it down properly. Let me just show you what this would do. So I'll use a needle and a thread to tack it. Just want to hold it down, and then you see why you actually need to put that. Actually, what he does is that fabric, the actual kit, about 14 inches that I used to swirl around underneath. It gives you this. It gives you. Can you see that my fascinator is not flapping around anymore? It's just staying. So it just gives your fascinator a firm grip, so it doesn't flap. Anywhere you place it, you set it to be. Your rose or your fascinator just stays. It doesn't keep flapping everywhere, anywhere. So that's what the one we put on that does. It gives it a bit of a lift, and also it makes the rose stays where you put it. So I don't have my flap. So if I go to a party and I'm dancing and I'm good. Thank you. So when I'm done, I'll do a picture of the finished product so you see it. Oopsies. Okay, so this is what it will look like. You can see the underneath. So what happened is that part, that about 14 inches we use, is to cover all the untidiness of the gilly, to cover it up. So I'm just going to finish this up by removing the excess fabric that I added, because I know my client doesn't want it this big. So then I'll show you a picture of it. Thank you very much. God bless. I'm done using the needle and thread to attach the fascinator together. So as you can see, it's already fixed together this way. So now the next thing to do is to test it on the head. I'm going to wear it and to see what it looks like. So this is the fascinator part of our skentele altogether, and this is the cap part of our skentele altogether. So I'll wait. So to wear, make sure that you pull it low at the back, low enough to the back of the neck, so that the hair at the back of the neck is not showing at all. So after doing that, you decide on if you want to wear it in the middle of the head or to the side. So because I want to wear it to the middle, slightly tilted, and now I'm doing this way. Okay, as you can see, I have some. So this one. So now I'll set it to the point I want it to be. I can set it to the point I want it to be, and then my skentele is ready. So now you see what you see here is the allowance. So for just in case the client wears braids or anything to take. So now for those that don't want it bulky here, you can now pull down at the back like this. Now pull it down at the back this way, so that the excess fabric comes down, and then the skentele looks a bit firmer, and not too bogus. So then after doing that, I can pull it up a little bit like this. So this is what I'll have. So after doing that, I'll take, I told you about the 40-inch fabric that I measured. I'll use to cover up all my sewing and my stitching here. As you can see the stitching and the ripping. So I'll just take this and just fold it into this way, and then I'm going to place it inwards here. But before I do that, I'll tack it to one end of the taper. Let me do this while I should have started it while it's not on my head, while it's on my work table. So I want you to see what I'll do. So I'll tack the fabric, attach my needle and thread to it, and I'll take it to the tie where I have my tie, where I use the thread to tie the floral part, the part I wanted to use to do my rose. That's where I'll attach this to. So as I pull it moves there. So I'll just try and do as well. You can do this off the head, but I can't see what I'm doing, so I'll just take it out so I can see. I need to tap that part down properly. Just to secure this end. Then after securing it, I'll take the extended length of the 41 that I measure and swirl it round. So but before I do that, I'll push my needle out of the under so that I can be able to swirl round without any obstruction. So I can put it back on the head and swirl around. There's this swirling round the under or the base of the fascinator or the rose. Okay, so now this is kind of fixed. So let's take it and go round. So I'll keep going since I've already attached it once. So I'll just keep going like round until I've exhausted the fabric. So this way, I can tuck it in this way. I just tucked it into the already round one. And I'm going to tack it down. I'll use my needle and thread to tack it. So this one is going to be like this. So, okay. So, I want to tack it, that's why I'm taking it off. Pass my thread back under. So what the fabric you put under does is it helps to conceal the thread that we actually use to tack the floral part together, and also it also helps to give a lift to the floral part so that it doesn't look too flat, but it shouldn't also be too high. So don't use too much of the ashoke to cover it under. So because if you use very lengthy fabric, then it will be a bit too high. So it's the same method you use for the finishing of this ashoke skentele. It's the same method we use for the sego. The only difference between the ashoke skentele and the sego skentele is the cutting. And the cutting, what I mean by cutting is that you cut with a zigzag scissors for the sego, but for the ashoke you use the normal scissors. Then we'll have to lock the fabric, just because ashoke loosens when cut. But the sego, when you use the zigzag scissors, it hardly loosens. It's not like it can't loosen at all. When you pull it, it's likely to loosen. So you won't pull, you just cut with that scissors and then handle with care. So that way it won't loosen. So all I'm trying to do right now is just to secure the the part I tucked into the 40-inch fabric I swelled, or I used to wrap the base of my fascinator. I'm just trying to secure it together so it doesn't fall off, so it stays that way. So when I'm done, I'm going to do the floral parts of the white sago, and then when I'm done with that, I'll show you the outcome, and then you can see that you can actually achieve the same thing or probably create new other designs with the skentele. Actually, depending on your fabric, but for some people the ashoke is just easier to work with. But actually I worked with some sago gele that was just so easy to work with. But most of the time I think if you pick the right type of ashoke, like the Crantex, for this style works easy and very well. So I'm done attaching this part. I'll just wait on it, and then I'll add my pearls for those that want pearls and accessories. So I'll just add a bit of the pearls to it, just a little bit, because I don't want it to be too busy and too flamboyant. Let's see. Is it? Okay, can you stop? Okay, now I'm pearling. I just want to put few pearls on our fabric so that to come out, beautiful. So for the sago, the skentele, you don't need too much of embellishment. Just little will do. Just little. So I'll just put bits of it. So I'm using the B6000. You can also use the E6000 blue. Also works well. Then we'll leave for like 10 to 15 minutes for it to get sticky. Just the way we do our multiple pleated altogether when we was first doing our pellet. Okay, so we're done planning. So this is what it looks like. So I'll just wait and then we're good to go. It's just best you leave enough allowance than having it too small and then it can't go into the hair. So like I said, I have enough allowance here. So if my client makes their hair, it will take in the hair. Now, without the hair now, if I want it to be, smaller and firmer, I'll just pull it down. And then when I do that, then I'll come in and just fit in the opening and then, it's not dried yet, so I have to be careful so I don't peel off the curl. So I have to set it the way I want. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look at the mirror, see what it looks like. So I didn't let my pearls get to the third layer. That is the third floral part of the skentele. So this is my finished look. I hope we're able to gain one or two things from this. Just send me all your questions and comments. Thank you very much.